Alright, welcome back to another day of the Kegarator project. As you can see, the collar went ahead and it's sealed overnight. Had some weights on it. Went ahead and I laid the lid back on top of it just to make sure everything's going to line up correctly, and it does, so I'm happy with the way everything's sitting. So the next step is going to be to assemble the faucets and the shanks together and attach them to the collar. So let's go over the materials here that I've got. Basically, it starts off with an economy size tap handle. I only bought one just because I'm going to buy some custom made tap handles, so no sense in buying 4 of those right now. So I just got one tap handle for the time being. Also, I got Perlick faucets. They're a little pricey, but I think they will pay off. Well as 1-inch shank that will attach to the Perlick faucet, as well as a 1/4-inch barb where the beer line will go into, a beer washer, and a beer wing nut there. So basically at the end of the day, when it's all done, this is what it's going to look like. Got the faucet handle, the shank attached to the barb on the back end with the beer line, or sorry, the beer nut. So I'm going to go ahead and attach those to the collar and we'll pick up there. Alright, so this is what it looks like after I've got all 4 taps installed. Again, only one's got a handle right now, but that's okay. See the back end of it there, got the barb sticking out. That's where the beer line is going to plug into. I think the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to attach a 4-way CO2 distributor. So we'll come back and we'll talk about that. Alright, so this is a 4-way CO2 distributor, and basically how this works, if you could imagine the CO2 tank, is going to have a line that's going to plug into this 1/4-inch barb here, and that line then will feed CO2 into the manifold and then distribute it between up to 4 more kegs. So basically where I'm going to install that, I believe, is going to be somewhere right about here. I think that's going to be a good spot. I'm happy with that. That way I might be able to stick the CO2 canister up on this hump, or maybe over here in the corner if I have enough room. So that's where I'm going to stick that, and I'm going to go ahead and mount that, and we'll see what it looks like when it's done. Alright, welcome back here. We're going to take the next step. We're going to reattach the lid of the chest freezer back onto the Kegarator. So what I did already was I pushed these spring-loaded hinges down. There's quite a bit of tension on there, but I pushed them down and marked the holes. So what I'm going to do now is drill a couple pilot holes into the collar, actually 4 on each side. Okay, and then I'll just do that on the other side and put the bolts in, and we'll go from there. Alright, well, we went ahead and we've got the lid to the chest freezer attached. I wound up changing something here. They originally came with these bolts like you see up top here, but I went ahead and just used wood screws in place of the bolts. Seemed to work a little easier. Bit into the wood real nice. So you can see there's the back end of this. It worked out real good, and I'm going to open this up here. As you can see, works great. Still got a nice spring action to it. So it's exactly what I was looking for. And it seals perfectly all the way around, so I don't have to worry about any loss of cold air. Going back a step here a little bit earlier, I was talking about mounting the 4-way CO2 distributor. This is where I wound up putting it. Put it off back here in the corner. Just mounted that with a couple of wood screws. and that's going to give me exactly what I want. That CO2 line is going to come off of the tank and into the four-way split off there on the manifold. So that's where we're at. The next step is going to be to attach a thermostat or a temperature controller to the freezer. Alright, here's the next step here in the Kegarator build. I'm actually going to install a Johnson temperature controller, which is actually going to convert this from a freezer basically to more of a refrigerator. We don't want to get the beer much below 38 degrees. We definitely don't want it to freeze. So in order to do that, we need to put in a temperature regulator. So here it is, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this on the side of the collar here. I've installed a couple of wood screws. I'm going to mount this here. And what I'll do then is I will drill a 1/4 inch hole into the collar so I can stick this probe into the freezer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Drill all the way through it. It should give me enough clearance. Hang this on here. Okay, that's being hung. And I'm going to have to drill a little bit bigger of a hole. That's not quite going to cut it. So I will work on drilling a bigger hole. Just to kind of elaborate on how this works, the Johnson temperature controller plugs into the outlet, the wall outlet, and the freezer actually plugs into the temperature controller. So when I'm going to set it to 38 degrees, so when it hits 38 degrees, it will actually shut the freezer off and prevent it from getting any colder.